You don't miss her, you miss who you were when she looked at you like you mattered. And that's the part that hurts. It's not just the silence, not just the unread messages, not even the way she slowly became distant. It's the way you started questioning yourself, the way you replayed conversations at 2 a.m., wondering where you messed up, the way you felt chosen, and then quietly replaced. Most people don't realize this, but attraction rarely dies in one dramatic moment. It fades in subtle shifts, in tone changes, in delayed replies, in the way her eyes stop searching for yours in a crowded room. And here's what's really happening. Attraction isn't built on perfection. It's built on emotional tension, on mystery, on space, on the feeling that you are choosing each other, not clinging to each other. In the beginning, you were calm, centered. You had your own world, your own routine. You weren't trying to impress her, you were just being. And that's what drew her in. Your presence felt stable, unshaken, independent. But the moment you started fearing losing her, everything changed. You texted a little faster, explained yourself a little more, overanalyzed her tone. You tried to secure the connection instead of experiencing it. This is the part nobody warns you about. The more you try to hold on to someone out of fear, the more your energy shifts from attractive to anxious. And people can feel that shift without understanding it logically. She didn't wake up one day and decide you weren't enough. She felt the dynamic change. The polarity softened. The emotional tension dissolved. And what replaced it was subtle pressure. Pressure to respond. Pressure to reassure. Pressure to carry your emotional stability. And that pressure quietly kills attraction. It's painful because your intentions were pure. You cared. You wanted clarity. You wanted reassurance. But attraction doesn't grow in constant reassurance. It grows in space, in uncertainty, in the dance of two independent people slowly leaning toward each other. Think about the moment you felt her pulling away. Your chest tightened. Your mind raced. You wanted to fix it immediately. You probably asked, "Are you okay?" Or did I do something? Or worse, you pretended not to notice while internally collapsing. Here's the psychology behind that moment. When you sense emotional withdrawal, your nervous system interprets it as rejection. Rejection triggers survival instincts. And survival instincts don't create attraction. They create attachment anxiety. Attachment anxiety makes you seek closeness in ways that feel heavy. It makes you monitor behavior. It makes you overinvest emotionally before the foundation is stable. And ironically, the more emotionally invested you become without reciprocity, the more your value seems to drop in her perception. Not because you are less valuable, but because perceived value in early attraction is tied to emotional self-sufficiency. When someone feels that losing them would emotionally destroy you, they subconsciously feel less chosen and more responsible. That responsibility removes the spark. You see, healthy attraction thrives when two people want each other, not when one needs the other. There's a difference. Want feels light, need feels heavy, and heaviness suffocates chemistry. This doesn't mean you should be cold or distant or emotionally unavailable. That's another extreme. Emotional unavailability might create mystery, but it destroys connection. The real power is emotional steadiness, being able to like someone deeply without losing yourself in the process, being able to enjoy her presence without making her your emotional center. Most men don't lose women because they're not good enough. They lose them because they slowly abandon themselves. They stop going to the gym. They cancel plans with friends. They check their phone constantly. They wait for replies instead of living their lives. And she feels it. She feels that your world shrank around her, and no one wants to be the only pillar holding someone's identity together. Here's the part that hurts the most. The moment she started losing attraction, you started trying harder. But attraction doesn't respond to effort. It responds to energy. You can't negotiate desire. You can't convince someone to feel tension. You can't logically argue your way back into chemistry. What you can do is this: rebuild your center, not to get her back, not to prove a point, but because that centered version of you is the most attractive version of you. Remember who you were before the overthinking. The man who had direction. The man who didn't check his phone every 5 minutes. The man who enjoyed his own company. That version wasn't pretending. He simply wasn't afraid. Fear is the real enemy of attraction. Fear of losing her. Fear of being alone. Fear of not being enough. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If someone pulls away when you are calm, grounded, and authentic, they were never aligned with you to begin with. But if someone pulls away because you abandoned your center and became emotionally dependent, that's a lesson, not a life sentence. Most people chase validation in relationships because they never learn to validate themselves. They need texts to feel important. They need attention to feel secure. They need constant proof to feel chosen. But true confidence isn't loud. It's quiet. It's knowing that you bring value without forcing it. It's being okay with silence. It's allowing someone to walk away without chasing. And paradoxically, that's when people lean in, because emotional stability is rare. And rare things are attractive. You don't need to play games. You don't need to ignore her on purpose. You don't need manipulation tactics. You need emotional control. Control over your impulses. Control over your reactions. Control over your need for instant reassurance. This is where self-improvement becomes real. Not muscles, not money, not status, but emotional discipline. The ability to feel deeply without reacting desperately. The ability to want someone without clinging to them. The ability to accept uncertainty without panicking. This is the part nobody talks about because it's uncomfortable. It requires you to sit with your loneliness, to face your insecurities, to admit that sometimes you're not heartbroken, you're ego bruised. And that realization changes everything. Because once you stop chasing validation, you start attracting connection. You stop asking, why isn't she choosing me? And you start asking, am I choosing someone who aligns with me? That shift alone transforms your dating life. You become selective, calm, grounded. You stop reacting to mixed signals. You stop overanalyzing delayed replies. You stop measuring your worth by someone's attention span. And when you operate from that place, something interesting happens. The right people feel safe around you. The wrong people feel bored. And that's okay, because your goal isn't to attract everyone. It's to attract alignment. If this felt personal, it's because it is. Almost every man has lived this cycle at least once. The excitement, the slow shift, the panic, the regret. But the difference between repeating it and outgrowing it is awareness. Now you see the pattern. Now you understand that attraction isn't about being perfect. It's about being centered. And maybe the next time you feel someone pulling away, instead of chasing, you'll pause, you'll breathe, you'll return to yourself. And whether she stays or leaves, you won't lose yourself in the process. If you've ever felt that silent shift in someone you cared about, I want you to reflect on this. Did you lose her? Or did you slowly lose your center? Let me know what part of this hit you the hardest. And in the next video, we're going to talk about the subtle behaviors that instantly lower perceived value in early dating, without you even realizing you're